we looked at the CPCs, right? So they're a little out of benchmark, but then look at our CTR, right? Our link. If you guys remember, we want it to be above 6%, right? And here we see 7.88, 7.9. So that's a green check mark, right? Thumbs up, we're good to go. Our CTR all is through the roof. It's almost at 20%. That looks good. The landing page looks good. We're getting a ton of hops. Okay, so these are destination visits, or they're hops. Order form impressions are good. So this Facebook report helps us just make sure that our Facebook KPIs are in check and all is looking good there. Okay, and then if we go to the sales report, you guys guessed it, it's now we're going to look at everything that's going on the sales side of the fence, right? So ClickBank, this gives you a lot of insights on maybe how the offer's performing or the traffic quality over that certain day or period, right? So we see, Matt always felt the amount spent's really important. And then we have, landing page again, and then how many hops you got, your hop to OFI percentage, right? So how many people go to your hop link, but then how many people actually go on to the order form page, right? Now, this isn't a metric that you guys really have a lot of control over, right? Because we don't really, we don't have control over the VSL, like the offer. That's more on how the offer's performing. But in this space, we like to see somewhere in like the 7 to, upwards of like 8 to the high end would be 10% for the DV to OFI. This isn't a huge metric that you have to keep keep track of, because again, it's not something that you necessarily control. The OFIs, this is how many order form visits you got, right? OFI to sale percentage, this is how many people go to the order form and then actually buy the product. Once again, not necessarily a stat that you really need to focus on because you don't have a lot of control over it. But it's good to just have, right? It's just good to know how the offer's performing each day, okay? How many sales you got on the initial side, the initial purchase revenue, and then it tracks upsells as well, right? So how many upsells did we get? How many initial purchases? What was the upsell revenue? And then what was our total revenue and net profit? So really just a lot of insights that I would say, on the sales report, it's good to just sort of take a glance at, but don't make too many decisions. It's like, oh my God, I'm running this ad campaign and I'm not getting any upsell purchases. The first thing that Matt and I would say to you is, well, what's your overall net profit? And you say, oh, it's awesome. And it's like, okay, then just leave it. Don't touch the ad. Everything's fine. The biggest thing is the net profit and the ROI. And then Matt, you brought it up in terms of the this report, guys. Like when Matt and I optimize our ads, Matt, this is like the #1 report. This is my favorite report, guys. When we were building Cometly, we were like, we want a P&L report that just shows me the ad set name, how much I spent, and how many sales I got, right, Matt? And I feel like we're in here all day on this report.
Exactly. We literally make decisions totally based off the profit and which way it's trending, right? So over the last 48 hours, we'll say, okay, over the last 2 days, what happened? And if the ad set's doing okay, I'll be honest, Grant, how many times have we done this every day when we were doing the sheets before we had Cometly? We'd put all the data in, and then we would literally say, okay, let's look at the last 2 days, the last 5 days, the last 7 days, last 14, and let's see how we're trending. And I know I mentioned it before, but I can't stress it enough. It really is what was able to get us to the high levels and high volume that we had and still have. And it's really the most important thing here is tracking that net profit, because all of our decisions, that's why I said earlier in the call, every single decision that we make stems from net profit. And then all these other metrics matter, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, how much money is actually coming back from the ad spend? And that's really, at the end of the day, what we really care about. We want to know how those numbers are trending. And really, analyzing data, Grant's been on the ad set level for, most of this, and it's important for me to point that out because all of our decisions are made off of ad sets. We don't make decisions off of campaigns. We make decisions off of ad sets. So all those different ad sets. And if you do launch ads with, so let's say you launch a campaign and you have, 2 ad sets, and then every ad set has 2-3 ads that you're testing. Cometly is great because you can actually see the different type of ads. And then okay, well, ad 1 is working better than 2 and 3, so I'm going to turn ad 2 and 3 off, right? So That's also a benefit, is it allows you to really test more ads within ad sets, which is something that we didn't have before, because with our tracking sheets, we literally were only able to track by ad set. So yeah, that's super important. And that's cool because like Cometly has like an ad set dashboard too, where you can see all of the ad set performance, right? So what's your trend line and so forth.
Yeah, totally. And then the last report that guys that commonly in terms of the column breakdown is just all metrics, right? So we have one massive metric report where you can look at your actual the ad set name, and then we really set it up in sort of like a funnel, right? Step by step. So how much did you spend? How many impressions were generated on the ad? How many link clicks did you get? What was the cost for those link clicks? Then we get to CTRs, right? So your CTRs are here. Then, in terms of clicks, we go to the landing page. You guys have already seen here. After the landing page, we get into the hops, right? How many hops do we get? How many destination visits? In between destination visits and order forms is your DV to OFI, right? So what was the percentage of these guys divided by these guys? Then in terms of order forms, we then go to how many people bought and what's the percentage in between there? What's our conversion rate? And then in terms of how many sales we got here, what was the initial purchase revenue, right? So from these two initial sales, we know we generated $92.56, and we had 0 upsells, but on this actual ad set, we had 4 initial sales, total of $572.11, and then we had 4 upsells as well for $186.64. So gross revenue, and then so it gives you the whole report from left to right, all the way till we get to net profit and ROI. Okay, so super, super important. But once again, guys, it really comes back to profit and loss in terms of the results, right? So just important that you're making your decisions on those numbers. And yeah, like once again, guys, it's also really important to note that if you guys are not using, if you're not using Cometly, that's also totally fine, right? You guys really should be implementing the Facebook data report right here, okay? And then also in the Commission Hero toolkit, Robbie has this awesome tracking tool as well for you, right? So you guys should really be utilizing this as well, okay? This is a great alternative to Cometly. If you feel like you're not ready to jump up to that level, no worries at all. Okay, you can put in your campaigns here, and this works really well. And then, yeah, profits, right? So this will show you your profits, everything like that. And then also on the landing page, guys, if you're ever like, oh, like how many landing page, how's my landing page doing, right? You can just go into the ads manager and look and say, cool, okay, ads manager says I got 134 clicks, and you can go into your ClickBank account and grab those, and it'll say like you had, let's see, 43 hops. And then it'll literally kick out your landing page CTR right here for you, so you don't have to do that math, okay? And so that really will just help you keep your eye on the prize, right? Making sure that you're in those metrics, okay? So super, super important to all around, guys. The number one most important thing, whether you're gonna use just the ads manager, whether you're going to use Cometly, whether you're going to use the Commission Hero toolkit here, the number one most important thing is that you guys really commit to launching ads, but then not sitting back and just not analyzing data. Analyze the data. It's so important that you really take the time. You realize that as soon as the ads are launched, the work is just beginning for the beginning part, right? Until you start to get some awesome sort of campaigns that are live and making money, and then you'll get a lot of forward momentum. And then that's when you can kind of sit back and relax and let things ride. But in the beginning stages here, it's so important to make sure you're analyzing your numbers and your data, and so you know what's working and really what's not working. Okay, that's really key. Cool. So I think we pretty much covered everything. Matt, did we cover pretty much everything on the Cometly KPI side of the fence?
I think the ad set dashboard really is the only thing.
Okay. So yeah, that's an important one. If you go to the ad set dashboard, guys, this really, no matter how many ad accounts you have, right? So for example, in Facebook, you're probably thinking, oh, I can just go to the ad set dashboard right here and it shows me all my ad sets. Well, yeah, that's cool, but it's only for one ad account, right? If I have Healthy Monday 1, here are my ad sets for Healthy Monday 1. But if I want to look at Healthy Monday 1 ad account as well as Healthy Monday 2, 3, like multiple ad accounts in all of the ad sets, it's actually impossible to do that with Facebook. But in Cometly, if I have all those ad accounts connected and I go to the ad set reports, I can click my ad accounts here, decide which ones I want to display, And then I can display all of the actual ad sets for these ad accounts, right? And so they can all just display perfectly in here. Okay. So you get a lot of data in terms of these ad sets, which ones are profitable, which ones are not. And it'll really help you just in terms of like staying organized and being able to see, which ones are the red ones, I'm going to turn those off, which ones are the green ones, I'm going to scale those up. And, we're going to talk about that next week, which is, what to do with the data. But ultimately, in terms of just analyzing the data, you're going to wait 3 days, you're going to keep what's on and, green and what is sales. You're going to turn off anything that doesn't have sales and scale the budget on the winners. Okay. So super, super important there. Okay, cool. So let's hop back to the slides here, guys. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to really just kind of cover the important hierarchy of metrics. Now this is super, super important because Matt, you actually touched on this earlier, but guys, this is called a metric pyramid. And essentially what this means is the metrics that are at the top matter the most, and the metrics that are at the bottom matter the least, right? They still matter, but they don't matter as much, okay? And so I'm sure we've all heard the saying, cash is king, ROI is king. It is absolutely true when it comes to running our ads, right? So the ROI is absolutely true, and that's where we make all of our decisions based on the ROI. Okay, so in terms of the actual ROI, like if we jump back to Commonly, we'll go back into these ad accounts real quick. So it's like, okay, Grant, I've launched my ads, I've run them for 3 days, and let's just use this example here, right? Where it's like, let's just say spend a couple $100 on each of these, and I'm looking at these two ad sets next to each other after a few days, and all the stats look pretty good. But then I go over here in the main ones in terms of net profit, okay? I have 556 here, I have 110, minus 110 here. What do I do, right? And I see people asking, like, do I turn them off if they're negative? And so after 3 days, guys, if you have no sales at all, you should probably go ahead and kill those ad sets, okay? Kill the ad sets that don't have sales after 3 days. Like Robbie talks about in the training, we 100% do that. We do that every day. And then in terms of the ones that do have sales, we go ahead and we actually increase the budget, usually 20%, okay? So we'll basically, if something's running at like $25 per day and it has a sale or two, we usually wait till it gets 2 sales and then we'll go up 20%. Okay, so you do the math on that, it's roughly $5. We'll push the budget to $30. Okay, and then every time it gets a sale after that, we'll just keep increasing the budget roughly 20%. Every time it gets a sale, we'll go up 20%. Okay, and that way you're really scaling your ads nice and slow. Okay, now next week I don't want to talk too much about scaling because next week we're going to go through all the scaling strategies from really super simple basics all the way up to more advanced stuff. But right now I just want to talk about sort of the initial results out of the gate. And so once again, rule number 1 is if you have no sales after 3 days, go ahead and turn it off. If you have 2 sales, that's when we'll start scaling. Okay, but if you have 1 sale, if you only have 1 sale on the ad set, we usually are. I like what Robbie says. He says like, oh, I'm interested, but I'm not sold, right? I'm interested that it seems to be a good winning ad set, but it hasn't proven itself to me yet. So I want to wait till it gets at least 2 sales. Okay. And people might be wondering, well, why do I have to wait till I get 2 sales on the ad set? And the truth is because, once again, Robbie says it could be what's called a loss leader, right? Could be like, ooh, 1 sale right out of the gate looking good, but then it might just be a loss leader and it might fall off and not get another one. And so we don't want to like scale that budget up too fast, too quickly there. We want to let it settle. I like to think of like this 3-day period as like an incubation period where you really shouldn't be touching anything, right? Hands away, back away from the computer. You're not allowed to touch anything at all. Don't fiddle with it. Don't increase budgets. Don't decrease budgets. Stay away. And then, there's 3 situations. You're either 1, going to have sales, and we look at, do we have 1 sale? Don't touch. 2 sales, we go ahead and scale it, right? 2 or more. Or the third situation is we don't have any sales, and we go ahead and we kill those ad sets, okay? And so those are your 3 situations there and how to handle those, okay? In terms of whether you get a sale, you get no sales, or you only get 1 sale. Okay, Matt, do you have anything to add to that? Did I miss anything there in terms of like just the initial results?
No, I think that's perfect. And probably the most important thing, and I'm seeing some questions about, is like the ongoing, like I mentioned earlier, like every 48 hours, you want to be making decisions on your ads. And like Grant, like you just mentioned, and the reason why it's 48 hours is because you want to give these ads time after you make changes, or if you just analyze the data and you're going to leave it, you just want to give them time before you make your next decision. The worst thing that you can do is every hour make changes to your ad sets, or make changes to your ads, or change up the budgets every couple hours. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to give it time, let it do its thing, let Facebook's machine learning algorithm optimize these ads based off who's clicking, who's purchasing, and so forth. So make sure you give it time. But at the same time, ironically, you want to make sure that you are being conscious of your spend, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, analyzing which way things are trending, how much you're spending. But you definitely don't want to just jump the gun and just start making changes like every hour. That's not how this is. It's not day trading. It's marketing, right? So you want to give Facebook its time to let these campaigns optimize, so you can get the best results.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing too, somebody asked a question, oh, if one of them is working, like in this case, right? If one ad set's working and the other one's not, do we turn off the loser and we put all that budget into the winner? And the answer is no, we absolutely don't do that. And the reason is because we individually look at these ad sets and make decisions just on their performance alone, not the performance of anything else, right? So we won't look at this one and say, oh, this thing's running at $24 a day. And it's not working. Let's kill this ad set and take that 24, put it into this actual ad set. So it's at 54, right? We wouldn't do that. We would just treat this ad set as such, turn it off, and let this one keep running. If it gets a sale today, we'll go from 30, up to like 36, right? Up to like 20%, 35, 36. And so we'll individually look at these ad sets as if they are just their own sort of entity, okay? And that's the way you want to make decisions. You don't want to make decisions like, oh my gosh, this campaign's terrible. Like 3 out of my 5 ad sets are negative. Yeah, I have 2 positive ad sets, but I'm just going to kill the whole campaign. Like, no, don't do that. Okay, it's really important that you individually look at these ad sets. You make decisions based on their individual performance. Matt, you always say it. It's narrowed down to
Yeah. I was just gonna get to that. I mean, because that's the journey. It's you launch. Every time you launch a new campaign, here's the journey. You launch your campaign, you have ad sets at $25. Let's say in this case you have let's say 6 ad sets, right? After the 3 days, 3 full days, keep in mind. So you're making these decisions on the 4th day, right? You are going to isolate down to the profitable ad sets. And like Grant mentioned, like Robbie says, I'm interested, but I'm not sold, right? That you keep those on if they do have a sale. Even if they are losing a little bit of money, they did have a sale, keep it running. And you can look at the profit. I mean, if it's like, if they're only down $12 on the ad set, let it go another 2 days. Give it a chance, because it does have a sale, it does have information, it does have data, right? And that's really how it works. Then every 48 hours after that, your goal is just to continue isolating down profitable ad sets and making decisions from there. And every time you launch a new campaign, it's the same process. And then ongoing, you're managing the trends and analyzing the trends and seeing how profitable they are over 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 14, and potentially even 30. And so, we'll talk about this on the next call a lot with scaling, but something important to note is that all of these campaigns are going to experience ad fatigue. So one of the most important things you want to do is, launch new campaigns periodically. And like Robbie talks about, every week in the group, you want to make sure you're setting goals. So every week, set goals to launch new campaigns, isolate down those ad sets. Your goal is to get as many ad sets as possible that are working and that are profiting. So yeah, that was just my 2 cents, Grant, on that process, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Really, really important stuff. Okay, cool. So yeah, if we hop back to the slides, guys, once again, all the decisions are made based on ROI. Then we sort of secondarily look at what I like to call the secondary metrics, the second level in the pyramid. CTR, landing page CTR, and CPC, right? So once again, we literally went through this situation right here with Commently where it's like, okay, let's look at these actual ad sets and, you know, in the last 7 days, you know, let's find it. Where was it? It was the CPC. Let me go to Facebook, and it's like, oh my gosh, we have a $1.18 CPC. That's way above KPI. It's 18 cents above where we want it to be. Do we kill this? You know, do we turn this ad set off? Well, I look at my metric pyramid and go, okay, I'm looking at CPC. Well, let's go to the main thing that matters, ROI. Let's check the ROI. Let's go over to it. And, oh, okay, cool. We have an ROI of $556. And I am definitely not going to turn this off, right? So although CPC matters, ROI matters more. Okay, same thing with landing page CTR. If my landing page CTR was 20%, right? We want it to be at least 40 to 60. But if it was at 20%, I'd be like, ooh, that's not very good. And I would ask myself, what am I going to do? Am I going to turn this ad set off? Well, I would go and look at what? The metric that matters the most, the ROI. If it's good, then I'm not touching it, okay? So same thing down here. Like I think you'll just see people in the group, guys, get caught up with these metrics. Oh my God, my CPMs today are terrible, right? This ad set has 500% ROI, but my CPMs are terrible. What do I do? Like it's like, okay, well, I would probably say, what's your ROI? Oh, well, the ROI is huge. It's amazing. All right, then leave it, right? So this metric pyramid really helps you guys visualize, and I think it will help you, you know, just really stay focused on what matters, right? You know, oh my God, my CPCs are high, my landing page CTR is low, and my CTRs are low, and things are not good. Well, how's the ROI? Oh, that's great. Well, then you're just fine, right, Matt? I feel like people get caught up in all these other metrics, and they just don't stay focused on what matters.
Well, yeah, I mean, the most important metric is, you know, is it making you money or not, right? So, I mean, it's net profit, ROI, those are the top two. I have a couple of people asking some great questions. Somebody said, Clifford said, what is ad fatigue? Well, I know I mentioned that. Ad fatigue is essentially when your campaigns have been running, they're very profitable for say 2-3 weeks, and then the ad sets just start to kind of fall off and they start to trend downward. And at that point, we just call it ad fatigue. There's a variety of reasons. Maybe it's the frequency of how many people the ad has been shown to. Maybe it's the size of the audience. Maybe it's a lot of things. And in that case, you know, it's very binary. If it's working, you keep it running. If it's not, you turn it off, right? Yeah. So I just want to let you guys know, like, ad fatigue is a common thing. That's why it's important to continue to keep launching new campaigns, so you always have new ad sets that you're adding to your delivery, right? Now, another one too is, why not make decisions at an ad level versus an ad set level? Grant, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that gets a little bit more into the weeds, but why not make decisions at an ad level? The reason we don't make decisions at an ad level is because Facebook does that for us, right? So I'll just go to the ads manager just to display it, even because this campaign's not in there. But as you guys remember, for our conversion campaign, we didn't let it spend money because it was just an example, but we put 2 ads inside the ad set, right? As you guys probably should have, and you did for your campaign. Well, Facebook's gonna take this budget, this $25 from this ad set level, and it's going to distribute that budget depending on the performance of these ads, okay? Depending on which ad, A, the purple, or B, the orange, starts to perform better with the audience. And so Facebook will automatically distribute this ad set budget into these ads for us. And Facebook is smarter than me, smarter than Matt, smarter than Robbie. Facebook's smarter than all of us combined. And so we let Facebook do its own thing in terms of optimizing that for us. Where we like to just stay sort of at the helm per se, like controlling the budget levers, is right here in the ad set space. Okay, so I hope that answers the question.
Hey, Grant, I think I'm smarter than Facebook. What are you talking about?
I don't know, Robbie. Maybe me, you, and Matt combined, we might be smarter.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, guys, awesome stuff today. We'll just jump right in, and we'll start to finish it up here. This is your homework for this week, and then we can jump into Q&A. So guys, if you haven't set up your tracking yet and you want to use Commently, go ahead and sign up for Commently and use the tracking. Once again, it's not needed. You can go ahead and use Facebook Ads Manager. That works completely fine just to get you started. And if you are going to do that, go ahead and set up those custom columns in Facebook, review your benchmark KPIs, get really familiar with what to look for. And then you can, as we discussed, make adjustments to your ads if the KPIs are outside of the benchmarks. And then next week, guys, I cannot believe it. It's week 8. We're going to talk about scaling strategies, right? Just how to go from, honestly, like Robbie scaled higher than anyone I've ever known in this space, but Matt and I can at least talk about strategies that got us from 100 a day to 1,000 to 10,000. Robbie can talk about how he got up to like 50, 60, $70,000 days. So that'll be really exciting next week. So yeah, Robbie, you want to jump in? We can open it up for questions and people go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, let me know in the question box. Was this helpful for you guys today? Let me know in the question box. I know that I thought this was great. And I got to be honest, like I think, Grant and Matt are being too humble when it comes to Cometly. Like I think that for sure, if you're able to, swing it, if you're able to afford it, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's very similar to guys like, it's like you could go into the ClickBank marketplace and you could look at all the stuff and you could look at all the products out there. But when you use something like the Commission Hero Pro Toolkit, it just adds another layer of information and data, which kind of gives you that unfair advantage when it comes to finding the right offers. And that's really what Cometly does, where you can go into the Facebook interface and just use it as it is. You can certainly do that. But the nice thing about Cometly is it brings all the metrics that really matter to us as affiliate marketers right in front of us. So we don't have to go searching for it. We don't have to spend time, energy, and effort looking at stuff that we're like, does it matter? But you're not sure if it matters. That's the nice thing about Cometly is it's just straight up, hey, this is what you need. This is what you're going to look at. And like I said, the fact that you're able to use that data in a way where you're able to make less mistakes, be able to track data is awesome because I've for years and years and years I used spreadsheets. And there was many times where I forgot to, add a column, I forgot to enter information, and it ended up costing me a lot of money in the long run. So I definitely recommend if you're able to jump in with the, especially with the deal they got going on right now with Cometly. I mean, why not? I mean, they got some really, really cool stuff in the works as well. They have an app coming out. They have a bunch of stuff that's going to be really, really awesome. That some stuff I can't even talk about yet because they told me not to. But a lot of good stuff that you guys should be fired up for. So, but cool, awesome. Let's go into answering some questions here as well. Let me see. Someone says, is there a different webinar platform for Cometly? I'm not sure I understand your question there, Lutendo, but as far as a webinar, I mean, Cometly is a tracking software. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But maybe you can clarify by typing in again. Let's see here. Let's see here. So a lot of people are saying I can't wait to get into Cometly. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Signed up for the annual. Awesome stuff. Appreciate that.
What's that?
Somebody said they signed up for the annual plan. Awesome stuff, Gary. And someone else said, how long will the Cometly deal last? Well, Don, we can't hold it open forever, but we're gonna hopefully try to extend it as long as we can. But we can't keep it out there forever. So I would jump in whenever you can.
Yeah, for sure. I would say at the very least we'll keep it open until the 8-week masterclass is done. But other than that, guys, I mean, don't put it off. I mean, Cometly's not going anywhere, right? You'll just have to pay more later on. That's all. Colin says, if you make an adjustment to your ad, do you relaunch it as a new one? Yeah, so this is definitely a good rule of thumb. Like you never want to, I'm a big believer, don't edit your ad. So if you have an ad that's running, it's active, and you go and edit it, try not to do that because what's going to happen is that ad will typically go into review. And in some cases, what'll happen is, God forbid, it could cause a flag on your account, right? So the best thing to do is to just duplicate that ad or ad set, and then you'll be able to make the changes on the duplicate, and that should help you. Let's see here.
Question here. One question is, Cometly work with ClickFunnels, Bucket.io, and Presell.io? So yeah, I mean, Cometly works with literally any website. It's not even just a funnel builder. It's any web page that you can install the tracking on. ClickFunnels definitely, Bucket.io, yes. Presell.io, they don't allow their customers third-party tracking right now. So yeah, guys, Bucket.io, ClickFunnels is good. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Someone said, I got limited learning in my Facebook ad. Should I be doing something about it? Honestly, in my opinion, I would say no. Limited learning, is kind of based on a Facebook metric, which is all about how many conversions are happening in a week. And based on that number that's happening and based on the pace of that ad set, it'll determine whether or not it's going to be able to get out of the learning mode or if it's going to stay in learning mode. But once again, like going back to the metric pyramid there, I mean, at the end of the day, ROI is what it's all about, right? So if you have sales on that ad set that's in limited learning, then that's all that matters for sure. Let's see here.
Somebody's asking, they said, did Robbie mention a mobile app? And yeah, guys, that's exactly what he said. There is a mobile app coming out. So on the go, whether you have Android, iOS, you'll be able to see all of your stats and how your ads are doing for that day in real time. So you're on the golf course, you're in the grocery store, wherever you are, you can see how your ads are performing that day. So yeah, that's awesome. We actually haven't revealed that out yet a lot, so that's awesome, Robbie. Super pumped about that. Tons of features coming out too, guys. We actually got a bunch of new features for teams. We got different profiles, different team members. So yeah, it's awesome. Charts for the individual ad account, updates to the ads manager. So yeah, next couple of weeks are going to be awesome stuff. Like Robbie mentioned, we're not going to have it on there forever, that offer. You guys are actually getting the $299 plan for the $199 a month if you do monthly. So we're not really sure how long it's going to be on there for. So definitely jump in if you want to be a founding user.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Let's see. Gary's got a good question here. He says, how quickly will revenue show up in Commently as far as the numbers? Ad spend is showing, but the sales are not showing it yet. Is it real time or does it update daily?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gary. Go ahead, Grant, you take it.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, so Gary, it shows up hourly right now. So in the near future, you'll be able to upgrade to pretty much instant refresh. If it has been more than an hour and you don't see your sale, go ahead and reach out to us in support. We can make sure that you have your account set up correctly and you have all those T's crossed and I's dotted.
Yeah, awesome. Let's see here. Judy's asking, it's not about this week's content, but do we have any liability for the product's performance? So I think you mean in terms of like, as an affiliate marketer, do you have liability when it comes to promoting the product? The answer is, I would say 99% of the time, no, as long as you follow the terms and conditions of the product that you're promoting, right? So if you go to the affiliate page, they'll tell you, hey, you can promote on this platform, but not this platform. You can use this term, but not that term. So they'll kind of lay it out for you. So as long as you're not violating those rules, you're pretty much good to go. So hopefully that helps you out there. Let's see. Clara says, can you show me how to increase the daily budget on your like campaign? My Facebook threshold is still low, $35, and I need to increase it. Yeah. So in terms of increasing the daily budget, I mean, quite frankly, all you do is where you're where it shows how much you're spending per day. There should be a little pencil there. You're gonna click on that pencil, and you can change the daily budget to whatever price you want to change it to. So hopefully that helps you out there. Yeah, if your threshold is low at $35, that's okay. I mean, basically at the end of the day, threshold, once again, we covered this last week, is your threshold is essentially another word for trust with Facebook, right? So the higher your threshold gets up, the more Facebook trusts you and the more ability you'll be able to spend more money on that account, okay? Let's see here. Yeah, same question that Keith is kind of asking too. I want to get to 125, I'm only at 50 for my threshold. So you just gotta, at the end of the day, it just comes down, you gotta keep warming up the account, keep spending money on the account, and that's what that's all about, okay? Let's see.